Hello everyone, it's the Metal Geek. How y'all doing? And, well, hasn't this past 2 weeks been big for video game news? With Square Enix recently announcing that they're bringing Final Fantasy VII, 9, 10, and a slew of other Final Fantasies to the Nintendo Switch, Sony saw it fit not to be outshined by Nintendo. And they announced this little thing. Yep, that is a PlayStation Classic Edition. Or I guess PlayStation Classic. I mean, who didn't see this coming? With the success of the NES Classic, the SNES Classic, and Sega working with AtGames to produce a Genesis Classic, it was only a matter of time before Sony got into the plug-and-play business. But what makes this most intriguing is that they're releasing this year. December 3rd to be exact, and that's only a few months away. Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm pretty excited about this, and here's the games that I think should be on the system. Well, we already know that there are 5 games on the system for sure. I mean, big surprise, Final Fantasy VII is one of them. This is my surprise face, you see my surprise face? But we also have Wild Arms, we also have Ridge Racer Type 4, Tekken 3, and Jumping Flash. But the question is what other games can we expect? Well, I mean, we're not going to go through a whole list of games here, but there will be 20 complete games on this system, so outside of the 5 that is already announced, here are a couple of the other essentials that I think need to be in the system. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This game is just so good that, yeah, you can't not have this game. It is a landmark game in the series, and it is one of the more important PlayStation games out there. Leaving this game out would be a massive mistake, so hopefully Sony got the licensing rights to put it on this classic edition. Lunar, the Silver Star Story. Okay, I know we're already getting Final Fantasy VII, and I know we're also getting Wild Arms, but Lunar is one of the best, if not one of the more charming RPGs to ever launch on the PlayStation 1. Now, don't get me wrong, for those of you who know Lunar, this game did start off on the Sega CD as well as going to the Sega Saturn before it made its way to the PlayStation, but arguably most people know the game from the PlayStation 1 release. But hopefully it does make it onto the PlayStation Classic because, well, it is a top-notch RPG and it really does deserve that recognition. Suikoden II. Oh my goodness, if this game appears on the PlayStation Classic, people are going to go nuts because Suikoden II is one of the most sought after RPGs on the PlayStation. It is right up there with Valkyrie Profile. It is kind of rare to own an actual copy of the game for the PlayStation 1. I do, kind of lucky. It's not in perfect condition, but I do own it nonetheless. And while you can, I'm sure, buy it and emulate it and all that good stuff on the PSP and Vita and whatever else you emulate on, it would be awesome to include a copy of this game on the PlayStation 1 Classic, and it should just get the recognition that it deserves. Legend of Dragoon. Okay guys, yes, I am an RPG fan, but why would Sony leave off a really good RPG that, yes, does emulate Final Fantasy VII in a lot of ways, but also managed to be a very different game all in its own right? It's a pretty innovative game when it comes to its actual battle system, though the graphics in of itself, again, very much emulate what Square was doing with the Final Fantasy series at that time. However, Legend of Dragoon is a Sony-owned RPG, therefore there really isn't any licensing rights. So hopefully Sony does realize that putting the Legend of Dragoon on the PlayStation 1 Classic would be beneficial for their system. Now, a couple other games I would really love to see on this system and probably won't show up on the system would be Discworld 2. Really fun game, but probably not gonna happen. Grandia, which is another really good RPG, but at the end of the day, I really don't think Sony would consider it. And Final Fantasy Tactics, though that one we could be surprised about. That one could actually be released on the system. But the reality is that considering that there are only 15 other slots available for these games, because there will be 20 games total on the system, and Final Fantasy VII is already on there, if they are going to include any other Final Fantasy games, the likelihood is that it's going to be Final Fantasy VIII or Final Fantasy IX. Now, I didn't bring up games like Metal Gear Solid or Crash Bandicoot or Battle Arena Toshinden, because those games are almost completely and utterly likely to be announced for the system. I am just kind of giving you an idea of some of the games I would love to see in the system, so what about you guys? What would you like to see appear on the PlayStation 1 Classic? Comment below, have a discussion, let me know what you think. Do you agree with some of my choices? Do you disagree? As always guys, this is the Metal Geek saying, have a great one.